How are we all doing, people? It's Revival of Wisdom from the Wisdom Academy. Today we're going to be breaking down God, consciousness, and the higher and the lower self, and how to overcome the lower self. Now, the first thing you need to understand is that you are the invisible intelligence within the brain, within the body. This invisible intelligence is known as the mind. But you are not the mind, you are the observer of the mind, which is the soul, the invisible entity. The mind is your intellect, your intelligence. Now, the mind is, it's hard to put this in words, but the mind is something that gives you the ability to explore the universe. And this inner self is the I am. It's the quiet, the inner self, the voice you see in you hear in your head. This is why within spells high twin, inside, internal. The I is also the number one, which is one line. Because the one and only, is the inner self, which is the I am. This is why you say, my name is Harry. You are not Harry, you are the I, the inner self, the intelligence. Okay, this is why Jesus in French is I am. You look with the two eyes and you see with the inner eye. I and I, the same thing. Okay, because the I inside is what gives you the perception of what you're looking at. So when someone's trying to explain something and then you catch on saying, I see now, it's because you're seeing with your inner eye, the one that gives you perception, gives you intelligence, gives you the ability to understand things. This is the internal I, the invisible self, which the physical body is nowhere near as complicated as this inner self. Is in infinite potential. God, G-O-D, generator, operator, destroyer, soul, mind, and body. Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva, the Father, the Holy Spirit, and the Son. They're all, the reason why you see God is always a triad is because it represents yourself. Your invisible intelligence is God. Me and you are the same invisible intelligence. We are the invisible intelligence experiencing the program being ran by the central nervous system and the brain. I always say this in my videos, but I have to, in order for you to understand the things that I'm going to say later on in the video, you need to understand this concept, is that you are the consciousness experiencing the nervous system, the tree of knowledge of good and evil, which is you here. You would be in this invisible intelligence right here in the center of the brain. Now, this is why the ancient Christians show God is in the brain. This is the brain stem. This is the brain. This is also the brain stem and the brain. The brain stem and the brain. It's all depictions of the brain, because the brain's the computer, the electromagnetic computer, which decodes the demands created by the invisible intelligence, the I, the inner self, you, your true self. The person if you observe what someone moving, this is going to sound, but if you observe someone walking, it's not the body. The body is moving, but the thing telling it to move is the invisible intelligence. Before you kick a football, a decision is made within your invisible intelligence, your mind. And this consciousness, this invisible intelligence, is either stuck between the lower self and the higher self. Okay? When the invisible intelligence, meaning the true self, identifies itself with the physical body, it will trap its mind within physicality. This consciousness that we have is either operating in the lower self or the higher self. It's either feeding the material body or it's feeding the spirit. Okay? But because we are physical and spiritual, we need to be even. We don't want to be meditating all day long, because we do have a physical body as well whilst we are here. We are playing a game in physical matter. Okay? Now, the reason that you incarnated here is to learn a lesson, because the mind can manifest anything it wants within the astral planes, within the world of imagination. It can manifest anything it likes, but it incarnates into matter, into this game, so we can understand labor, because anything in matter you have to labor to manifest. But in the astral, you can manifest at the click of a finger. You come here to learn the knowledge of good and evil. And your consciousness, I came out a bit off topic there, but your consciousness is experiencing the lower or higher self. The lower self is manifested in the lower parts of the body. Sex, food, and power, the lower three energy centers. These centers are like mini brains. You are literally thinking with these centers. And when your mind is stuck within these lower centers, you'll think. Have you ever heard the term of thinking with your penis, or thinking with your, you know what, as a man? Even females maybe, but mainly this is a boy saying, you're thinking with your penis. This is a truth. It's truth in plain sight. You think with these energy centers. When you're living off the lower three centers, all you care about is sex, food, and power. Eating, sleeping, and greed. Power's kind of like greed. Now, when we move up to the higher parts of the body, when we live our life within the higher parts of the body, this is considered heaven. Love, expression, intuition, and wisdom. This is what we need to be aiming to do, moving out of the lower half of the body and living our life within the higher self, the higher parts of the body, thinking with the higher energy centers, thinking with love, expression, intuition, and wisdom, spreading love, expression, intuition, and wisdom to others. Heaven is even. This is why Jesus is pointing at the heart chakra, always pointing at the heart. Earth rearranged his heart, because in earth you're manifested as a physical being. You're in the heart, good and bad. You need to be balanced between the good and bad. Because love can be a demon too. That's a whole nother video, but love can be a demon. Now, the seven chakras are known as the seven seals in the Bible. When the Lamb opened the seventh seal, there was silence in the heaven for about half an hour. This is a verse from the Bible. The Lamb is Aries, which is the higher brain, the cerebrum, the cerebram. Ram, Aries. Because when the Ram opens the seven seals, you enter the kingdom of heaven. Because these chakras seal your invisible intelligence. They seal your true self. You are behind these seven seals, your true invisible self, your true consciousness. Because behind these seven seals, you do not think about anything materialistic. Your intelligence is not material. It's not physical. It's not from the physical world. It does not desire the physical world. The body is the beast. The body's the animal, the lower self, which can corrupt our intelligence. It can corrupt the intelligence. Okay? Now, we need to balance these chakras so that we gain a deeper connection between this intelligence and the brain. Because when there's a strong connection between the brain and the intelligence, your body and the intelligence, you have a strong connection. Therefore, you can manifest what the intelligence is saying at all times. Meaning, when, for example, your higher self, this is intelligence, the higher intelligence is always speaking to you. It's always guiding you. It's always telling you the right thing to do. You can feel it when you're doing something wrong. You can feel that you're doing something wrong, because this higher self This intelligence knows what it needs to do here. And when there's no connection between the body and this our intelligence, our true self, when we strip away, when you close your eyes for long periods of time, you will figure out you are this invisible, infinite, creative being. There's no words that I can't describe what it is, but it's the voice inside of your head that you can feel when you close your eyes. You are this being inside of the head heaven, because this is heaven, this intelligence. And when there's a strong connection between the body, you can manifest everything it's saying. When everything is balanced, when you're no longer thinking with the lower centers, when they're all balanced, you're not thinking in particular with every center, you balance them all, you can manifest everything it says. Your body will act out what the intelligence is always saying. This is God in the brain, the intelligence, trying to touch Adam, representing the lower self. This is why they're not touching. Notice how Adam is resting, but the intelligence is always reaching out, stretching, symbolizing metaphorically saying it's guiding. I'm always reaching out. The intelligence, your intelligence is always guiding you. It's always reaching out to you. But Adam is ignorant of it. The lower self is ignorant of it. And that's why he's so relaxed and God is so stretching out. Because at our highest self, that when you think of when you want to better your life, that highest true version of yourself is God. When you're manifesting this, your highest self, this is God. Your truest form, your most perfect form, that is God. Your highest version of yourself, that is God. Emotions are not what you've been taught. Emotions are not something that should be reactive, okay? You should not let the emotion be you, except that you should experience them instead of letting them become you. You need to understand there's a separation in our consciousness. You have the soul, which is the person who is observing your thoughts. When you think a thought, who's the one observing that thought? The soul, you, the I am, the I, the inner self, the one and only. And inside of every single body, inside of me, inside of you watching this video, there is this same intelligence that is inside of me, inside of you. And it's the exact same intelligence, experiencing a different body. And this is what we mean by the universe is mental. We all are all sharing the same ball of consciousness in a different body. The animals, the fish, the cells, all expressing this one consciousness. Me and you are the same. This is why the golden rule is treat others like others should be treated, because I am you and you are me in a different body. Now, going back, you need to identify that there's different levels of consciousness: soul, mind, emotion, and body. Okay? Your emotions are on a separate layer than the body, the mind, and the soul. So when you identify there's a difference between all of these, you do not let them become you. You do not let your mind rule you, because your mind can be corrupted. Your soul is the one that is pure good, pure love, but your mind can be corrupted. Okay? Your emotions can be corrupted. The body can be corrupted, but the soul can never be corrupted, only layered on top. You can only throw piles of programs within the subconscious, layering the soul down, but deep down inside of every single one of you, there is a loving being. Because the love comes from the heart. Love is the universal emotion, expression. Now, your thoughts can become bondage, your emotions can become bondage. Now, what do I mean by bondage? By conquering the lower self, we need to conquer our own mind, because the mind is what's manifesting the lower self. When you're thinking with the lower half of the body, when you're becoming your emotions, you need to experience the emotion, not become the emotion. Do not let the emotion become you. Do not let your thoughts become you, because your thoughts are tools that you can manifest. Your thoughts are the idea. Your emotion is the energy that you can use to manifest that thought. Your emotion is energy in motion, emotion. You use emotion to manifest, to feel as if you already have the thought. Therefore, you become that vibration. Therefore, your emotions are actually a creational force that is given to you to manifest things, because you're a human, a manifester. You're here to manifest things. You're a creator. You are a god. Your inner self, your intelligence, your I am, the one and only inside of you, the inner self, the quiet one, the one that's deep, deep down, the invisible intelligence, is it's creating things all the time. All the time. Speak no evil, see no evil, hear no evil. This is the astronauts, they're Freemasons, but they understand this, because thinking, seeing, and hearing can corrupt your mind. And when you have a corrupted mind, you'll have a corrupted subconscious. The subconscious will manifest into the body, because 90% of your behavior comes from the subconscious mind. So you got to speak, see, and hear no evil. A sin, what is a sin? To overcome our lower self, to overcome our lower self, the 7 deadly sins are not something that goes against an external God. A sin is something that goes against your inner guide, your inner conscience, the inner self that's always speaking to you. It's always telling you the right thing to do. A sin is something that goes against this inner guide. And this is why you can feel something where you can feel you're doing something wrong, because the inner guide is speaking constantly. And when you commit these 7 deadly sins, which are 7 internal states which keep your invisible intelligence bound to your physical body. Because evil, right? Evil love bondage. This is why they stay in this realm and they control this realm, because they love the bondage of the body. They like matter. They want to stay in matter for eternal life. They don't want to ascend back into the heavenly realms, where you do not have a physical body. You can explore the universe within the astral planes. They stay bounded to the body, bounded to the 3D construct of the physical world. They have greed, lust, envy, gluttony, wrath, sloth, pride. They want all of this. And if you want that, that's okay. But deep, deep down, you don't want that, because your soul is always telling you the right thing to do. Your soul knows what to do to get out of here. It needs to detach from the external world. Detach from all of these 7 internal states which bound you to your lower self, your lower centers. That's what a sin is. You have a left and right brain. The left brain is always analytic. The right brain is metaphorical. So the right brain is producing a holistic view of reality. Now, what do I mean? And not view, perception. When you see, because your eyes are parts of the brain, so when you look at something and you look, that image is produced in the back of the brain in the visual cortex. And then the brain The right brain produces a perception, a holistic, it breaks down what you're seeing into a holistic image, a holistic perception. So for example, if you're in a woods, the right brain sees the whole woods as one big woods. The left brain is breaking that perception down into individual trees, branches, and leaves. So the left brain's to do with duality, the right brain's to do with wholeness, unified. The left brain's dualistic, analytic. This is necessary so that we can pick things up and manipulate them and break things down. We need the left brain, we need the right brain. I'm not saying any of them's bad, but the left brain, sinister in Latin, means left. Because when you're left-brained, you see everything in dualistic. You see everything is dual, when everything's actually one. We need to be focusing and strengthening our right hemisphere. I'm not saying sit in the right hemisphere all the time, but we need to be strengthening our right hemisphere. And this is why left is sin and right is right. Because when you focus on the right hemisphere, you see the holistic perception of creation. The right hemisphere sees humanity as one unified consciousness. The left hemisphere sees everyone as individual persons and egos. Because the left hemisphere is dualistic. And this is why the Bible says, cast the net onto the right side of the ship and ye shall find. John 21:6. What does that mean? Cast your energy, cast your perception into the right hemisphere of the brain, and ye shall find unified consciousness. You shall find your higher self, the one and only. If then you have been raised with Christ, seek the things that are above, where Christ is seated at the right hand of God. Wow. Powerful. What does this mean? Seek the things that are above, where the Christ is seated at the right hand of God. God is your consciousness, your invisible intelligence between the two hemispheres. The right hand of God is the right hemisphere. Seek the things that are above the heart. Love, intuition, expression, and wisdom. Seek the things that are above the heart, the higher self, the higher part of the body. Because when you seek the things of love, expression, intuition, and wisdom, you create a strong aura. You attract the same frequency. And this frequency is heaven, God. This is the Sumerian artwork showing the Lamb. This is a step symbolizing stepping upwards, raising up. He's stepping over the Lamb up to the bird. His hand is going to the bird. The Lamb symbolizes the lower self. Okay? The bird with the wings is in the sky. It represents the higher self. This is why angels always have wings, because it represents the higher self in the sky. The lamb is a ground animal, symbolizing the lower self. He's stepping over the lamb to the bird, his higher self, his invisible intelligence. Horus and Set, Jesus and Satan. Look, Horus has an evil brother, Set, just like Jesus and Satan. Horus is a bird, higher self. Set is a ground animal, lower self, which is the devil and the angel on your shoulder. You see? The right and the left hemisphere. The two wings. So, the devil and angels always speaking to you. The higher and the lower self. It's the battle between the higher and the lower self. Between the invisible intelligence and the physical body, because the body's the one that wants the sugar, it wants the pleasure, it wants the sex, it wants the porn, it wants all of the materialistic things, it wants the 7 deadly things. Okay, it wants this. There's a battle between the higher and the lower self, your intelligence and the body. This is why you need to become balanced. so that there's a deep connection between the body and the invisible intelligence that I am. You need to master your mind with discipline, and you gain a connection between the brain, the body and the intelligence. Resurrection, transmuting sexual energy. Okay, this is important. Res is resh, which is Hebrew. The early Hebrew resh symbol is the head. This is the head. Resh, erection. Erection is a sexual stimulation. Resurrection is rise-erection. You got to raise your sexual energy up the base from the spine to the head. This is the Christ, the Christos. There's a psychophysical germ, psychophysical oil produced in the brain every month. Go and watch my other video on raising the chrism. Okay? And every month there's this fluid produced in the brain, which takes 2 trips, because one's produced by the pituitary, one's produced by the pineal, magnetic female, magnetic and electric charge. And it takes 2 trips down the spine to the solar plexus, the bread of life in the Bible, or Bethlehem in the Bible, because the River Jordan's your spine. It goes down to Bethlehem. It gets born in Bethlehem, just like Jesus. Because when this oil travels to the solar plexus, it creates the seed, the seed of life, and it feeds the body, all the central nervous system, all the cells. It regulates the blood, does all sorts of good things for the body, this oil. Now, when you save your sexual energy and you raise your resurrection, you awake the Christ, you raise it from the solar plexus or the sacrum bone up to the brain, you activate 100% of the brain, and this is the true resurrection of Christ. Instead of wasting the energy and giving away your sexual fluids, because behind the fluids is the energy. So when you release that fluid, the energy is out there. You've released the energy. Your sexual energy is the most potent emotional force a human could possibly feel. Same with any animal or anything. The sexual urge, the sexual emotion is the most powerful, potent emotion that you can feel. It takes over the whole body. When you feel sexually aroused, it takes over everything because it's so potent. And when you fight the serpent, when you fight the sexual energy, which is shown here in the Egyptians, the cat cutting off the head of the serpent, or Hercules fighting the serpent, or in the Greek mythology fighting the 7-headed dragon, the 7 chakras. The serpent is your sexual energy because it symbolizes your kundalini. When you fight it and you transmute this energy, instead of releasing it, instead of acting sexually on it, you can transmute the energy, transfer it from the solar plexus up to the brain. You can also do this with other tasks. Instead of releasing it, instead of raising it from the solar plexus to the brain, you can use it for other things. So for example, you want to think critically. You can use it for critical thinking. You can use it for going to do exercise. You can transmute sexual energy into anything. But you can do this, you can raise the sexual energy, and you can use this energy to push the cerebrospinal fluid from the solar plexus up through the spine, up the 33 vertebrae to the brain, and it'll activate 100% of the brain. And this is the resurrection of Christ. Jesus was never dead. Jesus was never rose from the dead. It symbolizes the Christ, Jesus Christ. Christ is Christos, which means oil in Greek. The resurrection of the Christ, the Christos, the oil. When it activates 100% of the brain when it's raised, and it can regulate all the systems, it can regulate all the blood, it can regenerate the body. And this is the true Antichrist. They don't want us doing this process. The Antichrist is not against Jesus. It's against the fluid in our body that makes us live hundreds and hundreds of years and makes us live as gods. This is the true resurrection. And when you fight the serpent, you fight your sexual urges, your sexual emotion, the most strong emotion that you could ever feel. You can do this process. And this is the true secret of transmuting sexual energy. Because when you transmute the sexual energy, you can become a god. And this is why Hercules is fighting the serpent. Notice how the serpent is low. He's reaching down to it. It represents the lower self. Because the lower self wants the lust. It desires sex. The body desires sex. There's a fight between the higher and the lower self. But when there's balance, there's even. Heaven is even. When there's evenness between these, this is the kingdom of heaven. This is when heaven is on earth. So at our highest levels of ourselves, the highest level of our intelligence, this is God. God is something that we manifest. We need to achieve Christ consciousness by battling the body. There is no battle outside of the physical body. It's an internal battle. Jesus and Satan have been externalized. Nothing exists outside of you, because I explained in the beginning how you are the consciousness experiencing the central nervous system. Therefore, there is nothing outside of you. It's all internal. Jesus and Satan have been externalized. Why? Because it's business. The church is a business. It's all a business. They've created these figures to be historical when they're not historical. The Bible's not historical. It's all externalized. It's called exoteric, when the truth is esoteric, internal teachings. So anyways, people, balance the chakras, balance the two hemispheres of the brain, balance the conscious and the subconscious. Balance is perfect, the yin and yang. You are spiritual and physical. You live in day and night. You need to be balanced. Oneness. Seek oneness. And this is the true kingdom of heaven. And when we all realize that we are all the same intelligence, the same consciousness expressed in different bodies, when we all realize this, we all realize we're all one. Doesn't matter what race you are. It doesn't matter what race you are, where you're from, your nationality, because none of you are actually from here. None of you are from the physical world. You're manipulating the physical world through the physical body. You are the I am. We all have a soul. Every single one of you has a soul. We all have souls. The reason why they say some people don't have souls is because they're trying to suppress your mind. They don't want you to know that you have a mind. That sounds crazy, I know. But a lot of people haven't realized that they have an infinite intelligence called a mind. And behind that mind, if you can observe your thoughts, the person who is observing the thoughts, you have a soul. Everyone has a soul. Don't listen to all these people saying some people don't have a soul, some people do. We all have a soul. Every single one of us. So anyway, you need to break the lower nature of yourself. At our highest levels, we are gods. Our intelligence, our universal intelligence, the I am, the intelligence that's inside of the brain, is God. Our minds are being corrupted within believing that you are the body, and by the result of this is a society like today, because everyone thinks they're the body, and everyone's living in the lower nature of self, where everyone only cares about themselves. But when we realize we're all one big consciousness ball, we're all the same consciousness expressed in different bodies, there will be peace. So thank you all, people. If you do want to learn more, if you do want to read my book, it's called The Book of Wisdom. I'll put it in the description. It's an amazing book, people. It's going to give you the best understanding possible about creation, yourself, and the world. It's amazing. The Bible, everything. I have just launched a new cymatic library. A friend of mine has just added this to the website. He creates beats and he creates the purest beats, so they are actually the frequency that it tells you. Most of the stuff on YouTube and Spotify and Apple Music is all, it says it's a certain frequency, but we know these major platforms are all playing with the frequencies of the apps. So if you want a real binaural beats, solfeggio scale frequencies to meditate on or listen to throughout the day, join the Occult Library. You can get a 2-day free trial. I'll put the link in the description. Thank you all, people. Hope you all enjoyed this video. God bless you all.
Welcome to Revival of Wisdom.
Welcome people, we're back with another video, and this video is about Freemasonry and their connection to the Illuminati. Please, as always, to make sure to hit that like and the subscribe button and turn on the notifications to never miss a video. On May the 5th, Adam Weishaupt founded this secret organization, and this date can be found in Roman numerals underneath the all-seeing eye pyramid on the $1 bill. This $1 bill also says Anu Coptus Novus Ordo secret societies like the Illuminati, Skull and Bones.